Tanya Fraser, thank you for joining us. Your IKTV news update will begin right after these messages. Please stay with us. According to some Unity Labour Party officials, the fact that the New Democratic Party representative for Central Kingstown, Senator Sinclair Leacock, showed up at the ULP rally on Thursday, September 16th, shows that democracy is alive and well in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But according to Edwin Snag of the ULP, it was a mistake on Leacock's behalf, as things could have spiraled out of control. Snag thinks that Leacock could have been hurt, but the fact that he was not touched showed that supporters of the ULP were reasonable and non-violent people. Meanwhile, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said that Leacock's visit to the rally was as an act of barefaced cowardice and not one of bravery. A new deadline has been set for the submission of suggestions to the Constitutional Boundaries Commission, but leader of the opposition, Arnhem Eustace, said that the date is absurd. Eustace said this week that a letter received from Chairman of the Boundaries Commission, Aldrich Williams, and dated September 16th, gave him up until today to submit proposals on his objections on the creation of the 2 new seats for the upcoming elections. However, Eustace used words such as unacceptable and farcical to describe the timeline, while adding, "This is a joke, they can't be serious." Eustace added that something of this nature cannot be tackled within a week, but can only be given justice with a lengthier time frame of even up to 1 year. The police are investigating a motor vehicular accident involving motor vehicle H1862, a bus owned by New Church of God, Bayaboo, and driven by Deborn John of Diamonds Village, which occurred at the Argyle Public Road about 5:55 p.m. on Tuesday. It is reported that motor vehicle H1862 was traveling from Kingstown when it ran off the Argyle Public Road and overturned. Several passengers sustained injuries and were taken to the Milton Keaton Memorial Hospital, where they were treated and discharged. In regional news, Barbados may have scored significant gains in the battle against HIV/AIDS by slashing deaths, but infection rates remain unacceptably high. Just as worrisome, more women than men are coming down with the sexually transmitted disease, and a major contributing factor is that Barbadians are simply not changing their sexual behavior in any significant way in order to avoid infection, thus raising serious questions about the future. That, in essence, was the picture Minister of Foreign Affairs, Senator Maxine McLean, painted at the United Nations in New York yesterday when she addressed the World Body's Special Summit on the Millennium Development Goals. One of the goals dealt with the lowering of HIV/AIDS infection rates and reducing the pace of non-communicable diseases. She told diplomats and others from around the world that after spending millions on HIV/AIDS programs, some of the funds coming from the World Bank, and after boosting the flow of information about the disease, far too many people in Barbados weren't heeding the warnings about the spread of the disease. Quote, "There has been an increase in knowledge but no corresponding behavioral change," end of quote, was the way that she put it. Venezuela deported 2 narco-trafficking suspects to the United States on Monday. Colombian citizen Jaime Alberto Marin and Omar Guzman Martinez of the Dominican Republic are wanted in separate drug cases in New York, said news agency Agencia Venezolana de Noticias, commonly known as AVN. Marin, 48, also known as Beto Marin, was the head of the Norte del Valle cartel in Colombia and was wanted by Interpol. He also had connections with the Tijuana cartel in Mexico. The U.S. District Court for Eastern New York orders his arrest in January 2007 on drug trafficking charges. Guzman was arrested August 25th in Caracas, the capital of Venezuela, the news service added. Officials said the 38-year-old suspect was the head of the international drug trafficking organization known as Guzman Martinez. The Guzman Martinez cartel smuggled more than 1 ton of cocaine aboard cargo containers shipped from Guayaquil, Ecuador to a port in Staten Island, New York. The U.S. District Court for Southern New York ordered his arrest on February 13, 2008. Venezuela said Monday the nation's authorities have now arrested 16 top-level suspects wanted by Interpol on drug charges. Let's now take a look at the weather with Al Archer.
All right, here late today, we continue to watch some very nice quiet weather continuing around St. Vincent and the Grenadines and even extending out well into the tropical Atlantic. Wow, the weather is very nice. Lots of sunshine and barely any showers at all. One tropical disturbance which is noteworthy, that which is Tropical Depression Lisa over the eastern Atlantic to the northwest of the Cape Verde Islands. Forecast to drift on to the north very slowly over the next 4 or 5 days, gradually dissipates by early next week. Still out over the open eastern Atlantic, while a new Tropical Depression 15 has developed over the western Caribbean. It's now near latitude 13.9 north, longitude 76.2 west as of 2 p.m. This is positioned just to the northwest of Venezuela and Colombia. It is forecast to move out towards the west-northwest now at about 15 miles an hour, 23 kilometers per hour, while top winds are 35 miles an hour, about 55 kilometers per hour, and is expected to become Tropical Storm Matthew. Now, once again, latest forecast models are suggesting that movement of Matthew is going to be in along the northern coast of Honduras during Friday night, Saturday morning, into the Yucatan of Mexico by Sunday, and then part of it splits and moves off into the southwestern Gulf of Mexico. The other part meanders around the northwestern Caribbean early next week, and ultimately down the road could become a stronger hurricane moving up through western Cuba and up towards Florida at the end of next week. Of course, this will not factor into our weather. Our forecast for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, partly cloudy with a 30% chance of widely scattered trade wind showers for the next 5 to 7 days. When occurring, they will come in mostly from the east through Friday, from the southeast over the weekend, with our overnight low temperature 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius, daytime highs at 89 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. And our marine forecast tonight, east to southeast winds 10 to 15 knots. We have a small craft advisory, seas just under 2 to just under 3 meters in mixed north and east swells. And Friday night winds around to the southeast 10 to 15 knots, just under 2 to just under 3 meters in mixed north and east swells. Improving marine weather for the weekend. Tides here at Kingstown starting out first tonight with a high of 706, a low at 1138. I'm meteorologist Alan Archer on IKTV. It's all about you.
Thank you very much, Al. Please stay with us. Your sports when we return. Some 20 cyclists will be in action this weekend when the SVG Cycling Union stage another off-road race series. The Saturday, 25th September, will see cyclists compete in the Rupert Putty Miners Memorial Cycle Hill Climb from Mesopotamia Valley to Belmont, starting at 4 p.m. sharp. All interested cyclists with mountain bikes and road bikes can register at Sailor Cycle Center. Rupert Miners was a former national cyclist and former Cycling Union executive member. On Sunday 26, the Cycling Union would also hold a road race from outside Howard's Marine to the roundabout, then to Rathamil, and return 7 times. The Rotary St. Vincent South Annual Cricket Festival that was scheduled to begin on Saturday 25th September will now begin on Saturday 2nd of October. This postponement is to give all participating teams more time to prepare. 20 teams are expected to participate in this year's competition. The defending champion is National Sports Council. Teams are asked to contact Dixon Finley, Garfield Williams, Grenville Williams, or any other member of Rotary St. Vincent South for further information. President of the West Indies Cricket Board, Dr. Julian Hunt, on Wednesday thanked the Guyana team for their participation in the Airtel Champions League in South Africa as the sole West Indies representative. Trinidad and Tobago set exceptionally high standards in the previous edition of the Airtel Champions League, and while Guyana's young team did not manage to match those standards, it was clear that they grew in confidence after a nervous start on a grand stage. This is according to Dr. Hunt. He went on to say that while they did not manage to win any games, the young group of players would have surely learned immensely from the rich experience of playing against some of the legends in the game and against well-drilled professional teams. He also added that Captain Ramnara Sarwan led with the bat as best as he could, and up-and-coming players such as spinner Devendra Bishu, the player of the Caribbean 2020 tournament, and all-rounder Christopher Barnwell showed that they are able to compete favorably against the best in the game, and that bodes well for the future of West Indies cricket. Guyana's next engagement is the WICB Regional 50-over tournament in Jamaica, which starts on October 14th and concludes on October 24th. Trinidad and Tobago football legend and former Manchester United standout Dwight Yorke confirmed on Wednesday that he was not invited to Saturday's FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup final, which will be held at the Hasely Crawford Stadium in Port of Spain, as local organizers showed greater appreciation for foreign stars. England international pin-up David Beckham, York's former United teammate, and ex-Netherlands and AC Milan star Ruud Gullit are in Trinidad for coaching clinics at present and will join German World Cup winner Franz Beckenbauer and FIFA President Sepp Blatter as guests of honor at the Under-17 final. However, York, when contacted by the Express newspaper, admitted that he and his close friend and wicked West Indies cricket icon, Brian Lara, were overlooked. "I haven't gotten any invite and neither has Lara," said York, who is now employed as a football analyst by British television network Sky Sport. "And yet we are sporting ambassadors for Trinidad and Tobago. So what does that say for our country?" York boasts an unprecedented level of success for a Caribbean footballer, with 3 Premier League titles, as well as the European Champions League, the FA Cup and the International Cup, after becoming Manchester United's record signing in 1998 and 2 League Cup titles with Aston Villa. He was England's joint leading goal scorer in United's historic treble-winning season and is 7th in the Premier League's all-time scoring charts. Frenchman Thierry Henry and Netherlands striker Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank are the only foreign players to have scored more than York. In the international arena, Liverpool's season went from bad to worse on Wednesday, as it was shocked by 4th-tier side Northampton in the 3rd round of the League Cup. On a night, fellow Premier League giants Chelsea and Manchester City were also knocked out. Liverpool, which is 5th from the bottom in the league, lost 4-2 on penalties in the teeming rain at Anfield to the lowest-ranked team, left in the competition to pile more pressure on manager Roy Hodgson. Newcastle upset Chelsea 4-3 following a last-minute strike by Shalom Ambiobi, the striker's 2nd goal of the night, and West Bromwich Albion came from behind to beat City 2-1 through goals by Gianni Souvalorin and Simon Cox. Tournament organizers say top-ranked Serena Williams has pulled out of this month's Pan Pacific Open as she continues her recovery from surgery on her right foot. Williams, who cut her foot on broken glass at a restaurant after winning Wimbledon this year, returned to practice earlier this month. Williams headed a strong field for the September 26 to October 2nd event. Wimbledon runner-up Veron Zonareva, French Open champion Frances Siovine, and Caroline Wozniacki and Jelena Jankovic have also entered the tournament. Maria Sharapova returns to defend her title. After missing this year's US Open, Williams told the Associated Press on September 13th she has yet to decide when she'll return to competition, but plans to play for the United States in the Fed Cup final against Italy in November. This has been your IKTV News Update. I'm Tanya Fraser. Thank you for joining us, and please join us again beginning at 6 a.m. for the morning edition.